Just want to say before we get going, for all of you that were on the grounds throughout the week for the lectures, thank you very much for your participation. You did a great job. Thank you very much. Mike, I think that means that you're asking, we'll be underway soon. I'm way down here.
Try this again. Here we go, y'all, live here in CANASTOTA, New York at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. We are about to witness the inductions of all of the 2025 inductees. And I'm not supposed to be here right now. I think they want me on stage, or they want me close to the action. I don't want to be close to the action. This is not what I'm here for. I'm here to observe. I'm here to...
I was going to say, Kenny, you're supposed to be back there, but that's Kermit. He did it to me again, ladies and gentlemen.
Obviously, I want to cover it, and that's all I want to do. But they got me hostage, and they want me to...
Don't confuse me.
On stage and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm back here with y'all right now, and I figured while we're here, we might as well go ahead and clip the episode for this week. So that's what we're gonna do. See if I can get my girl Chevy over here. But I got my boy Matt here. How you feeling, Matt?
Feeling good today. We got a lot of festivities going on, finishing off the weekend.
I can't hear you, Matt.
You can't hear me? I hear
myself. You can hear you, but I can't hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I'll speak up a little bit.
Yeah, you whispering.
But we got the festivities going on now, and we're closing out the weekend strong with the induction. And we got to see Shawn.
Lee, did I miss the Belmont? Yes.
Got to see Shawn go on a little parade floaty. He got his little...
Why are you saying little? Why does it have to be little?
Come on, they put you in a little car.
Yeah,
they should have had you on a truck.
But everybody's gonna see the car. I was in a Mustang.
All of you guys are about to see it. They're gonna say, "Oh, they did you wrong, Shawn. They did you wrong."
That's not true at all. Not true at all.
They put Diamante in a Rubicon.
Yo, his Rubicon was nice.
Hard.
The Rubicon was clean. I like that orange. Yeah, that orange was nice.
That was fire.
You got to meet Manny?
Of course. Thanks, Shawn. Shout out to Shawn. Got to meet Pacquiao. That was awesome. His entourage, however, were like, who is this guy? Get him away. But shout out to Shawn PorterWay for always putting me in connects with the big names out there. Getting a lot of opportunities. Very grateful.
They thought you snuck in, huh?
Yeah, they said, who is this guy? I said, I'm Filipino. They're like, no, you're not. So, okay.
I got a little echo on my end. I hope the audio is good for you guys listening out there. I got a little echo on my end.
This is your brain.
Okay.
It's just the headphones bouncing.
Yeah, it's the headphones. He said it's just my brain. Let me see if I can get Chevy over here real quick.
Yeah, but Yeah, we'll have Chevy over. We'll have a whole crew. And this
Did you get a chance to check out the ESPN fights?
the ESPN fights last night.
Last
I caught
night.
a glimpse of it. We just got home a little late.
You know, everything, obviously the biggest story is everything that went down with Keshan Davis. Well, actually, there ends up being two big stories because first is him not making weight,
Right.
and then them ultimately not being able to come to an agreement so that the fight can go on.
Right.
That's BS, and we'll talk about that. But then the other side of that, I don't know if you heard, I'm sure you have.
The jumping.
What is happening?
All right, I think jumping's a little bit extreme. I wouldn't say, I think jumping's a crazy term, but there was definitely an altercation. From what I saw, you know, they put it on the broadcast, and it just seemed like Keshan went up to, what was his name, Albright?
Yeah, yep.
And, you know, got in his face, they bumped heads, or Keshan initiated it, and that was that. But it's just not a good look, you know, especially with him missing weight already.
Yeah, you know, for me, I don't really want to. I want to attack it from the lens of how did this happen, why did this happen, and like my boy over there in Philly, like he said, like this should never happen. You know what I mean?
But Sean, you know better than anybody. How do you blow weight after being active at 135 so long? 4 pounds?
Yeah.
What's the explanation for that?
Yeah, we talked all about that too. And then Chevy's over here with us as well. So let's welcome in Chevy real quick. Look, get your annoying ass voice on.
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Chevy Red, and we are here live at the Hall of Fame induction.
We are cringing right now.
Listen,
I'm cringing because I said that already. Okay, that's why I'm cringing.
the biggest hater in the room, right
You just
there.
come over here and start the show all over. Right now we're just talking about everything that went on with on the ESPN deal with Keshan Davis. First of all, not making weight, and you know I had things to say about it. Everyone here, cool part about it, when you're at the Hall of Fame. So first of all, fighters, we all talk anyway.
Right.
But now you get the perspective of Hall of Famers, right?
Hall of Famers, yes.
So the reason why I point out the fact that we're Hall of Famers is because, I am in a Hall of Fame, but usually when you've made it to the Hall of Fame, not only have you done everything required to at an elite level, at a high level for so long, but usually you've done everything you needed to do to separate yourself from everyone else.
From everybody else.
There's champions, and then there's Hall of Famers, right?
Right.
So the Hall of Famers did everything that the champions needed to do, and some.
And then some.
So when you get a guy like Roy saying, for him not to be able to make 135 pounds at 23, 24 years old, it doesn't make sense. You don't instantly overnight grow to become that big and not be able to make the weight overnight.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. And so I said thank you. Like, thank you for confirming what I'm not in the Hall of Fame yet, in this one yet.
Right.
But
You will be.
But you're
will
confirming what I feel I know, you know?
Right.
So
you think it was a strategic move, or?
it wasn't strategic. It was boneheaded. It was immature. It was boxing doing what boxing does. And I'll explain that. The fighters, we are a branch of boxing. When you're a branch of something that is very effed up, a lot of times when you're young, like Keshan and his family and all that kind of stuff, when you're immature, and boxing is immature still, even though it's 100 years old, 200 years old, it's not doing anything to help you mature.
Exactly.
I've kind of sort of been given my 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's cut his audio altogether.
Kind of, sort of.
So for him to be immature and do what he's doing, it's like, damn, like nobody was able to hold you accountable on Monday.
Right.
Nobody was able to hold you accountable 17 days ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when it comes to making weight, the number one thing that people need to understand, making weight isn't an overnight thing. So the whole weight thing, that shit started 4 or 5 days ago. And if you were, what was he over? 3.5 or 4.5?
4.
4 over the day of, and you said you were working all night, you could have been at least 6 pounds over, because let's say you lost 2 pounds You had
Right.
to at least been 6. So 6 is too much.
So then that's why I was asking: was it something strategic? Because then right after they announced the move up in weight, and
He announced it though.
and I know, right? But then remember the day prior with all the talking with Abdullah Mason and Abdullah Mason on the stage, and then he becomes the main event. So that's what I was saying. Was it strategic? Did they know the move up was coming? What do you think?
You know, from that standpoint, usually there's no conversation between the team and the promoter. So I don't think the promoter knew that this was going to happen, and it's okay because we're ready to move Abdullah Mason in that position anyway. I don't think
Right.
that's just the strategic side of it you're talking about, right?
Right.
I don't think that's the case. I think that this is all Keshan Davis
From their camp.
and
Yeah,
his
no.
camp.
Yeah, from their camp. Yeah.
Yeah, and at first I thought you meant a strategic move from we're not going to make weight, but we're going to come in here and crush you.
Right. No.
Well, we would have thought that was the case, but at the same time, he would have known or should have known that he was going to be fined. And I think ultimately for me, that's what took me over the top. It's one thing to be 4 pounds overweight. That's basically unacceptable, inexcusable, all those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, there's no way a fight doesn't happen unless both sides disagree.
Right.
And it couldn't have been you giving this guy any more money that he wasn't going to accept the fight until he asked for something that you don't want to give up. And when you put yourself in 4 pounds overweight, you put yourself in a position where I have to give you everything you want.
Right.
And to me, that's what puts me over the top. At some point, he asked for something or an amount of money that you just felt like, well, that's unacceptable. Well, what the shit you did was unacceptable.
Listen, speaking of the money, I'm glad that the De Los Santos got his full purse, because I'm like, what happens with that? I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I'm glad he got his full payment.
So he was able to get paid for this.
Yes.
Wait, Keshan was able to get paid?
No,
Oh, I was about to say.
but De Santos got his money.
All right, guys. Sean's being real nice about this situation, but obviously, Sean, you got to look at it. You look at what happened with Keshan. You look at the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. Very similar situations. The difference is Edwin De Los Santos might have not made the crowd-pleasing decision, but as a fighter, he made the smartest decision he possibly could have made by not stepping in the ring with Keshan Davis. He made the weight. Keshan thought that he was Ryan Garcia. Maybe they'll just say the show goes on, but instead he ruins the night, basically for not only himself, but his hometown as well.
Right.
What do you think about all that?
That is when it becomes disgusting to me. It becomes disgusting when you're in your hometown and your hometown expecting a very similar show to the one you just put out a couple of months prior to, and you getting your own way. First off, not making the weight. Then the second side of that is not being able to make an agreement with your opponent to make that fight happen. I personally feel like if it was 50% of your purse, you got to give up the 50. You're at home. You got to give up the 50. You're a champion. You're losing your belt to the scale. You have to now put on a performance that makes people realize that, hey, he's moving up to 140 anyway. We're going to get some greatness at 140. I hate to see him lose the belt to the scales, and it's just top to bottom. It becomes a very disgusting and very unattractive thing for me, Keshan Davis, that is. I just think that in a lot of ways it's goes beyond being unfortunate, and it goes into realms of, man, and then the after the fight stuff that happens,
What do you think about that? Tim Bradley said he was a big fan of the DB3 brothers, and now he's not really a big fan at all anymore.
You can be, you can be. Your brother gets in the ring and he does what he's supposed to do, and he loses the fight. It is what it is. To me, I've never seen this before where, let me not say I haven't seen this before, but not at this level. I saw that at an amateur level, and foreigners to the sport. So you got somebody they're having their debut fight as an amateur, and the family and the friends, everybody's excited and what's the word I'm thinking of? Invested in this moment, and then it doesn't go the way that the family and the friends wanted to go, and there's this animosity that the fighter doesn't carry, because we know that Kelvin didn't carry that animosity after the fight, but the family does. which is really, really weird to me because that's only supposed to be like, again, at that low level where we're all new to this and we're all excited and it doesn't go the way we want it to go, and we don't understand that there's not supposed to be animosity. We don't understand that that there's supposed to be friendship and respect after the fight. For the brothers to carry on the way that they did goes beyond unacceptable. And that's just abysmal. You know, I'm trying to pull out the biggest words I can.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just juvenile. You know, like you think about how they are. You're supposed to be mature these days, and they just like take a step back. You know what I mean? As a family, as brothers, because it's just like, what is this, like kickball in second grade where you lose and you say no, and you guys start fighting outside of the sport. It's like, it looks like a little kid doing it. You know. And it just makes me think, remember, you had Keshan on, he talked about cutting his hair and stuff, like, I had a dream. Now, I took that as inspiration in the beginning. Now I got to think, dude, you probably had no other choice but to do that, you know, cut your hair off.
Yeah.
You know? But it is what it is. I thought it was going to be an exciting fight. You look at it now, it's just like, where do you go from here after making poor decision after poor decision?
We go to the after fight of the fight. What happened last night on the sidelines? What was it, in the locker room, I guess?
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like Keshan and his brothers confronted Albright after, and Keshan got in Albright's face. I believe he headbutted him. They saw a bump on Albright's head that wasn't there before the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He got more damage after the fight than he did inside the ring.
Listen.
So it's just crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think any of this was done for show. This wasn't, you know, I'm gonna just pull his name. It is what it is. Jake Paul. This wasn't, and I'm not saying that Jake Paul would do anything like that, but we know that Jake has an ability to utilize his social media and utilize his platform in a way that keeps people's attention.
Right.
And I just don't think this was that. This wasn't that thing that let's keep everybody's attention. Let's keep the focus on me, and you know, let's really give people something to talk about. I think that they were truly salty, and there's a level of immaturity that is they're about to start this, so we'll go ahead and give them their respect and their moment, and we'll be back in a minute.
Thanks, Sean.
And at this time, to introduce the class of 2025, Hall of Fame alumni and special guests to the stage, I bring up globally renowned ring announcer extraordinaire. Give it up for David Diamante.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CANASTOTA, the heart and soul of boxing, and to the 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame induction ceremony. From the thunderous arenas of Manila to the storied rings of Madison Square Garden, boxing has a unique power to unite us all. Today, we pay tribute to the legends whose fists spoke volumes, whose courage inspired millions, and whose legacies will echo through time. Thank you for joining us in this celebration of greatness. Let's honor the past, embrace the present, and inspire the future together. Now making his way to the stage, Hall of Fame legendary promoter of Top Rank, Mr. Bob Arum. Ladies and gentlemen, wait till you see the new biopic coming to the stage, Christy Martin and Champ. Three-division world champion and Sophie Mathis. but I'm looking for it here. My eyes, I can't see it. Now coming to the stage from the UK, John H. Stracey. Beloved heavyweight, the gentleman, Jerry Cooney. Hall of Fame promotional executive, Mr. Brad Jacobs. The former president of the World Boxing Organization, Francisco Paco Barcarcel. Influential regular and executive, Mr. Mark Ratner. Hall of Fame manager, groundbreaker, we love her, Jackie Callan. Hall of Famer and two-division world champion, the Iron Boy, Ivan Calderon. Four-division world champion, El Terrible, Eric Morales. Three-time world champion, Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez. Hall of Fame trainer, great fighter, we love him, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Freddie Roach. And Marvin Somodio, wild card in the house, the president of the World Boxing Council, Mr. Mauricio Suleiman. One of the most beloved fighters from La Isla de Puerto Rico, three-time world champion, Tito Felix Trinidad. And the man behind that, his trainer, his father, Felix Trinidad Sr. From Youngstown, Ohio, the former unified middleweight champion, the Ghost, Kelly Pavlik. Two-division world champion, Olympic gold medalist, the Jinx Spinks, Michael Spinks. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most beloved fighters, 4-division world champion, absolutely electrifying, Roy Jones Jr. Not only is he fair, not only is he firm, but he's a Hall of Fame referee, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Cortez. Two-time welterweight champion of the world, Showtime, Shawn Porter. '25 inductee, incredible executive producer, the former president of HBO Sports, Mr. Ross Greenberg. And now making his way to the dais, also a 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. You know him as the Commissioner, Randy Gordon. Also 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. What I say, you must obey. One of the best around, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Bayless. This next inductee of 2025 is an absolute pioneer, and she starts good trouble wherever she goes. Kathy "Cat" Davis. 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, 4-division world champion, Mary Jo Saunders. '25 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, 2-division world champion, Yessica Chavez. 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, former middleweight, former super middleweight champion of the world, Michael Second to None. Ladies and gentlemen, does he even need an introduction? 2025 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, 5-time world champion, Vinny Paz, the Pasmanian Devil, Vinny Paz. And ladies and gentlemen, last but very far from least, 2025 inductee to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, 8-division world champion, global superstar, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao!
Give it up for David Diamante, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I would like to thank, first off, you great boxing fans live in attendance and anybody watching on the live screen. Also, I'd like a rousing round of applause for the volunteers that make this happen each and every year. Thank you. And also a shout out to Turning Stone Resort and Casino. They do a tremendous job each and every year with this induction week. Please give it up for Turning Stone Resort and Casino. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to have everybody rise. Some great friends of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Mark J. Carey and Tim Grant, for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Mark Carey, Tim Grant, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in 2012, our beloved champion, Hall of Famer Carmen Basilio, passed away. Just want to mention that he will always be in our hearts and in the true spirit of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. We miss Carmen dearly, Carmen Basilio. And at this time, to get things underway, I'd like to once again introduce Mark Carey to begin the inductions for the class of 2025 here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Smitty. We love Smitty. At times I can check my hair with his boots. But tonight, no, we actually, all kidding aside, the talents and boxing knowledge that he brings every year is simply amazing. So thank you very much, Smitty. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived. We're here. The incredible weekend always builds to this moment, and in many ways, the highlight, when we officially induct the world champions you see before you and the posthumous inductees as well. Welcome to the International Boxing Hall of Fame class of 2025. I'd like to take a moment to express our gratitude, just as Smitty did, of course, the volunteers and the Turning Stone for all that they do, but yes, of course, yes, the volunteers in CANASTOTA, amazing. But also a special acknowledgement to the Brophy family and their unwavering dedication to both the sport of boxing and the International Boxing Hall of Fame, day in, day out, year after year, decade after decade. It's something truly remarkable, and quite simply, the hall wouldn't be what it is without them. So a big round of applause for Ed and the whole family and all of them. If you've been a part of this weekend celebration before, you know exactly what I mean. As it is, if it's your first time, welcome. Come back. It's a magical weekend. You have to experience it to truly appreciate it. So now, we are here to recognize and honor the remarkable contributions of boxing's finest. 14 extraordinary men and women who will today be officially enshrined into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But before we do that, before we welcome them to this podium, let's take a moment to look back at their incredible journeys. So here's a video snapshot of the class of 2025.
Best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You could beat the world, you could beat the war. You can talk the guy, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. Yeah. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You could be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you go find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And the world's gonna know your name. Yeah.
See, she's got it in her mind to use that jab just to set up a big power punch.
Good combination moments ago, and what I liked is she started it with the lead right to the body, then went back upstairs with a series of lefts and rights. And a nice counter punch, right hand, and then a left hook. And that
good left hook to the body.
Really nice left hook there.
The punch that did the damage after the headshots. The headshot started it, but the punch that did the real damage was the body shot, and that's why this fight is being stopped. No more.
Nouvelle championne du monde WBA des super légers, Antt, Sophie Mathis.
Ce genre de combat en Allemagne, chez nos voisins allemands, ça fait 5 à 6 millions de téléspectateurs sur les grandes chaînes nationales, et qu'il y a une ambassadrice qui aurait dû être là et qui a annulé son voyage au tout dernier moment. C'est Laïla Ali, la fille du Grand Ali. Elle est debout. Myriam est debout et il arrête et c'est Sophie Mathis qui l'emporte. Et c'est Sophie Mathis.
izquierdo en forma de gancho a la mandíbula. Ahí responde también esta que es la barranquillera. Vean nada más, la Kika tiene la madurez, no está remetiendo volado de mano derecha. Y la cintura de pies a cabeza tiene la mirada perdida. Esta que es la colombiana, vaya manera de arremeter. Vean la forma. Deberían de parar la contienda porque está haciendo de un solo lado. Vaya tres ganchos izquierdos a la zona hepática. Brutal, el tercero sobre la superficie. Tiene retardo mental, por Dios.
Pero ¿qué le pasa, doctor Alfonso Morales? Todo el...
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Michael, second to
Nunn stepped forward for a moment for the uppercut, but didn't really land it. It's been a jabbing contest so far with the early edge to Nunn. And down goes Sumbu Kalambe after a major league left inside by Nunn.
It looks as though Kalambe isn't going to make it.
And Michael Nunn answers a lot of doubters about his punching power.
Pasmanian Devil, Vinny Paz.
Pazienza fighting with a fury I have never seen in him.
He has opened it up. Doesn't want that cut to get any worse.
Al, in his corner, they told Pazienza to sneak up on him and hit him with the right hand. How do you sneak up on a fighter?
As Pazienza takes it to Melvin Paul. And there's the right, and Paul goes down.
One of the biggest punches I have seen in 1985. He wound up with the right hand, and it was a single shot.
Vinny Pazienza has just hit a grand slam.
The fighting pride of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao.
I don't think he's landed too much out of that exchange, but it's just his ability to punch, maintain balance, which he used to couldn't do. And his head movement is just too difficult for Patton to time.
I think Pacquiao may have spent the first 2 minutes of this round thinking knockout and allowed himself to get a little wild. Now he goes back to more precision, lands a hard body shot.
But Ricky isn't moving his head too much still. His head is still like that.
That is, oh my gosh, what a straight. That is the most spectacular one-punch shot of Manny Pacquiao's incredible career.
How's that to get things started, right? Nice. Class of 2025, everyone. All right, folks, the journey to the induction into the International Boxing Hall of Fame begins with a world title. And today, we're honored to be joined by 3 leaders of major world boxing organizations. Their names have become synonymous with excellence in the sport. It is my pleasure to introduce each of them now, one by one, as they come and share their welcome and offer their congratulations to the class of 2025. So let's start with, and I'll introduce the ratings chairman of the International Boxing Federation, George Martinez. All right. He's a great guy, though. So let's move on, shall we? It is now my pleasure to introduce the president of the World Boxing Association. We all know him, we love him, Francisco Paco Valcarcel.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for World Boxing with all respect to the other sport, let me tell you, boxing is unique. What a wonderful family we are. Big round of applause to you guys. I want to say thank you to Ed, the staff, directors, volunteer for the wonderful job, unique. You know, we have one of the best parade. All the activities, all the events have been great. We want Ed to reiterate our commitment with International Boxing Hall of Fame. You can count on WBO to help every year in all the ways. We can count on us, the International Boxing Hall of Fame. At the end, I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. Congratulations to all the inductees, especially to my best two friends, my love, one of my best friend, Kenny Bayless, and one of the and one of the greatest fighters of all time, Senator Manny Pacquiao. Thank you. God bless all.
From the WBO, one big round of applause once again for Paco Valcarcel. Let's now bring up a great friend of the Hall of Fame. He is the president of the World Boxing Council, the WBC, Mauricio Soliman. I said it 5 times. Here he is. Come on, Mauricio.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm not Martinez, I'm not Valcarcel. Paco is like a mentor to me. And I am so happy to be here. I was honored to say some words last night. I feel embarrassed to be in a jacket like this. If my father saw me, he would be yelling at me terribly. I'm sorry, I'm here to translate for Yessica. I didn't know I was going to be speaking. Anyway, my father was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and as I said last night, we are not in CANASTOTA, we are not in New York, we're not in the USA. Today, and this week has been the capital of boxing for the world. We see the whole world united through this great sport, and you can see there's so many nationalities and so many stories that are behind this year's inductees, and there's so many people that came to support and to be present. To have Bob Arum in the room, we all have to be very happy, and it's a real treat to see one of the greatest promoters in the history of the sport to be here with us, Bob Arum. Thank you so much. So many hours of work, sacrifice, dreams that the inductees put into their lives to be able to make it to the Hall of Fame is simply impossible to put into a calculation. But what it is possible is to see the love that they are receiving from all of you and from the millions of people watching live. Today is the most special day for them. It's the crowning of something that began when they were young. Manny said, from eating in the streets to being inducted in the Hall of Fame is something to be grateful to God. And it must inspire everyone to do whatever capacity you are in your life to do your best, to always be remembered as the best. I could not end without saying to Ed Brophy, to Grace, to his family, to the whole town, thank you. Because without the Hall of Fame, boxing would be just simply another sport where a career finishes, they move on, and then the new champion gets the light, the spotlight. But this, to recognize the careers of someone into a Hall of Fame, is what makes eternity. It's what makes great. It's when you understand that you have made it in your life. My father was inducted 2011. and he still holds the record for the longest speech. So I'm going to end it now, and I wish you a great weekend and congratulations to everybody. Thank you.
Mauricio Suleiman. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to present the posthumous inductees into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Though they are no longer with us, their legacies live on. Their contributions to the sport are timeless, and today we honor their memory with the recognition that they so richly deserve. And our first posthumous inductee is in the non-participant category. This category includes those men and women who have made contributions to the sport apart from roles as boxers or observers, based upon the candidates' achievements and contributions in their particular field. In our first inductee, we begin with Al Gavin. From Brooklyn, New York. That's right. Al developed a passion for boxing at a young age. He competed as an amateur and began working as a cutman in the late 1950s. Over the decades, he worked the corner for countless amateurs, rising prospects, and world-class pros, including Vito Antuofermo, Kevin Kelly, Mickey Ward, Junior Jones, Lennox Lewis, Vitaly Klitschko, and Oscar De La Hoya. From 1968 to 1990, he was the co-owner of the famed Gramercy Gym in New York City, a hub for developing talent. Al earned a reputation as one of boxing's finest cutmen, known not just for his skill, but for his calming, steady presence in the corner during the heat of battle. He passed away in 2004 at the age of 70, leaving behind a legacy of integrity, dedication, and excellence. So our first inductee into the class of 2025 in the posthumous non-participant category, Al Gavin. We are also honored to have some of Al's family here and Al Gavin Jr., so we just want to recognize them as they will receive all the honors that will be bestowed to them. Welcome. Our next posthumous inductee in the non-participant category is Harry Gibbs. Born in London, England, a former prisoner of war during World War II, he returned home and briefly pursued a career as a pro boxer before transitioning to refereeing in 1958. Over the course of a remarkable 28-year career, he was one of the most respected referees in the sport, working the ring for bouts that featured legends like Muhammad Ali, Smokin' Joe Frazier, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sonny Liston, Ken Buchanan, and Frank Bruno. He was also a respected judge, scoring some of boxing's most iconic fights, including the first bout between Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. In 1980, he was awarded the Order of the British Empire by the Queen in recognition for his contribution to boxing and his charitable work. Harry Gibbs passed away in 1999 at the age of 79, but his legacy in the sport lives on. The International Boxing Hall of Fame is proud to accept on Harry's behalf and will ensure that his family receives the commemorative items that detail his well-deserved honor. So a big round of applause for Harry Gibbs in the class of 2025. One of the most valuable contributions the International Boxing Hall of Fame makes to the sport is the recognition of legendary champions from the past. Taking the time to reflect on their achievements, remember their battles, and honor their legacy is essential to preserving the rich history of boxing. The next posthumous inductee in the Pioneer category. This category includes boxers that held their last bout in or prior to 1892. Our next posthumous inductee in that category is Owen Swift. Born in England, Owen Swift made his boxing debut in 1829 at just 15 years old and quickly rose to become one of the most brilliant and respected fighters of his day. A gifted lightweight champion, Swift was known for his exceptional quickness and accuracy and rare ability to excel both in hitting and in grappling. He retired with an impressive record of 14 wins and just 2 losses. Following his retirement, Swift remained deeply connected to the sport. He owned a popular tavern in London and authored 2 influential books on boxing. He passed away in 1879 at the age of 65, and his legacy as a pioneer of early boxing endures. In the pioneer category, our next posthumous inductee in the class of 2025, the Little Wanderer, Owen Swift. I believe his first fans were the first Swifties. I tried. I'll leave that to Vinny Paz. All right, we will also ensure that his folks will know that as well. Okay, so now we continue with our last posthumous inductee in the old-timer category, a division that honors boxers whose final bout took place no earlier than 1943 and no later than 1988. These athletes helped shape the rich history of the sport, and today we pay tribute to one of those enduring legends. Our next and final posthumous inductee is Rodrigo Valdez. Born in Cartagena, yes, Colombia, Rodrigo Valdez turned pro in 1963 and rose to the top of the middleweight division. He held the WBC title from 1974 to 1976 and became the undisputed WBC, WBA, and ring champion from 1977 to 1978. A true world champion, Valdez fought across 6 countries, including bouts in Argentina, France, Monaco, and at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Trained by Hall of Famer Gil Clancy, he retired in 1980 with a record of 63 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, and 43 of those wins by way of knockout, including victories over Bobby Cassidy, Bernie Briscoe, and Pete Toro, and 2 unforgettable bouts with Hall of Famer Carlos Monzon. He passed away in 2017 at the age of 70. And in the old-timer category, our next and final inductee in the posthumous category, the class of 2025, Rodrigo Rocky Valdez. We'd also like to recognize the Valdez family who was here. Raise your hand if you're in the audience. All right, there they are. Great. Congratulations, folks. And now, we turn our attention to the living inductees of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Each of these remarkable individuals will receive a custom-made custom Hall of Fame ring, a lasting symbol of their induction and their permanent place in boxing history. I'm going to get a ring and I'm going to show it to you exactly what it looks like. This is the ring they will receive. I know the camera is going to get a nice close-up shot of that. It's a little too close to my face, fellas. In addition to the ring, each inductee will receive an official Hall of Fame certificate, which I will also read to you as well. There have been tens of thousands of people involved in the sport of professional boxing. Only very few are immortalized for their achievements in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. You are such a person. The ring presented to you today by the International Boxing Hall of Fame, CANASTOTA, New York, is one-of-a-kind, custom-designed ring crafted by Jostens and individually personalized for you. Inductees of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, CANASTOTA, New York, are determined by the criteria of the Hall of Fame and the vote of the Boxing Writers Association of America and other boxing writers and historians from throughout the world. So congratulations on the high regard in which you are held in this knowledgeable group. The ring symbolizes your accomplishments in the sport of boxing, and we hope you will wear it with pride. Please come back to honor us with your presence. And that is the certificate and the ring that the living inductees will receive. So without further ado, let's do that. But before we do that, we also want to at this time recognize Don Ackerman, President of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Don will once again have the distinct honor and of presenting each inductee with their ring and certificate today. Our first living inductee being honored in the Observer category. This category recognizes individuals whose work has preserved, promoted, and elevated the sport outside the ring through the written word, visual storytelling, and media excellence, including print media and journalists, media executives, producers, publishers, writers, historians, record keepers, statisticians, photographers, artists, and screenwriters, all of whom play a vital role in chronicling boxing's legacy. And now, a true icon in the boxing media and beyond, our inductees this next inductee has helped to shape how the world sees and hears the sport. Born in San Antonio, Texas, Ross Greenberg is a graduate of Brown University. He freelanced for ABC Sports before joining the upstart HBO Sports team in 1978 as an assistant producer. He quickly rose through the ranks, serving as vice president, senior vice president, and eventually president of HBO Sports. Greenberg revolutionized boxing broadcast with innovations such as, and get this, microphones and translators, CompuBox punch stats, and the introduction of the unofficial ringside judge, changes that forever elevated the viewer experience. Also, a gifted documentarian, his work has earned widespread acclaim, including 56 Sports Emmy Awards. In the Observer category, the International Boxing Hall of Fame proudly inducts Ross Greenberg into the class of 2025.
So, it's wonderful to see everyone. The first thing I want to do is congratulate all of these other honorees. We've become a family over the last few days. And this has been a glorious weekend thanks to Ed Brophy and to Grace and the entire Brophy family and the staff and everyone involved. They've already been thanked, but these volunteers are very special, and they deserve many rounds of applause. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to my wife, Michelle. As all of you know, boxing is an interesting business, and you get knocked down a lot. And I got knocked down a lot. And she always pulled me back up. And we just kept going. And suddenly HBO became what it became. I'd also like to tribute my brother, Michael, who ever since I was a little kid encouraged me even to get into this business and stood by me and is very proud that I'm standing before you today. So television is an entertainment for you, but for us, it probably began in 1978 when I accepted the love affair with the sport. And really, HBO is a testament to the hundreds of people that came through those doors and set a standard for the way that we televise boxing. We knew in those years where the big fights were. There were welterweights and middleweights like Sugar Ray Leonard, and there were Thomas Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. Not a bad setup, huh? And then there were those heavyweights that became pretty famous, like Michael Spinks, Larry Holmes, Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, and the kid from the Catskills around here, Mike Tyson. Names that worked behind the scenes to helped me and actually make all of these great fights were names like George Krieger, the closer who was president of HBO Sports before me, Seth Abraham, Bob Greenway, Lou DiBella, who was incomparable, saw a good fight and immediately came into my office and said, let's make it. Mark Taffet and Kerry Davis. For the glory years, we had our leader, and it all pointed back to a gentleman named Michael Fuchs, who never gets enough credit. He's the CEO at HBO who said, we can do something with boxing. And boy, was he right. And he was the guy cutting the checks, too. We captured it through the dedicated love of the sport from a production staff that lived boxing. I came up with all those technical achievements that have previously been said, and then we set about giving you the stories. Executive producers and producers like Rick Bernstein, who became executive producer, Mike Whalen, Dave Harmon, John Crystal, Thomas Odelfelt, and the best director, trust me, in the history of sports television. You've seen his work over and over again in all those classic fights, a gentleman named Mark Payton. They're technical people, Bob Dixon, Dave Mazza, Michael Sheehan, Gordy Sager, Bill Tchaikovsky, Jeff Zachary. The list just goes on and on. But all these people followed the mantra that boxers were a special breed. We owed it to the viewer to profile them so you'd know them. You'd get to know them, their charismatic personalities, who they were, where they came from. The work of Mike Tyson's combination that floored Michael Spinks. Sorry, Michael. Or Angelo Dundee yelling at Sugar Ray Leonard that he was blowing it before Ray went out and stopped Thomas Hearns. Manny Pacquiao punishing the bigger, stronger, or so we thought, Oscar De La Hoya. Nice job. Or Buster Douglas sending Mike Tyson to the canvas in the 10th round and the first Bo Holyfield fight, every round of the 3 Gotti Ward fights. The first round of Hagler and Hearns, where I turned to Mark Payton and I said, WTF was that? Thought it was 8 minutes. The genius of the first 24/7, Floyd Mayweather, and that charismatic personality throwing those dollars into the camera. I'll remind you, Hard Knocks and that 24/7 series were the beginning of the cascade of all of these behind-the-scenes shows that you see. All of it with the best broadcasting teams in sports television history, in my humble estimation, especially in this sport. Believe it or not, it started with Don Dunphy, then the great Barry Tompkins. I tracked down the most dynamic analyst in boxing history, Larry Merchant. Convinced Sugar Ray Leonard to take a seat, then called on Gil Clancy and Emmanuel Stewart, and all of them together, the most coveted, when I called Art Kaminsky. And I said, I want Jim Lampley. I went down to Houston and convinced George Foreman to sit beside him and next to Larry Merchant. Oh, and I searched for a judge and found the incomparable Harold Letterman to round out a magnificent team. Every fight was a mini movie for us. We gave you stories outside the ropes, and then we called it inside the ropes. The sights and sounds were mesmerizing. Lampley's It Happened, by the book. When George Foreman unloaded the right hand on Michael Moore. The little plug I want to give Jim is it's a hell of a book. Jim's call, Mike Tyson has been knocked out. And Larry Merchant saying, it's over, it's over. 2 sentences we'd never thought we'd ever hear. Then George praying in his corner, an idiot fan man flying into the outdoor ring of Bo Holyfield. Arguello slumping to the canvas, in the words of the great Barry Tompkins, at the hands of Aaron Pryor. Prince Nassim Hamed's first entrance, which I guess you've seen a lot of entrances since. Freddie leading Manny out to the ring. Ricky Hatton's fan breaking out in that song, before that punch you saw earlier. These memories are there forever. And I remember always turning to Mark Payton and Rick Bernstein at the end of a telecast, knowing that we were recording a piece of history that would last forever. And of course, there were those intense boxing negotiations that made boxing boxing. Don King used to always say to me, "I'm a man of my word. We have a deal." Then he'd ask for more money until we signed the contract. But he was always fair, and we always made the fights. Al Heyman, Dan and Kathy Duva, Cedric Kushner, Artie Palullo, Gary Shaw, Butch Lewis, Rock Newman, Mike Trainer, Lou DiBella when he left HBO, and the list goes on. Even that guy. Thanks to those who are still with us, it was all worth it. This honors for all of those memories, all those moments. I just want to go back to the beginning for 1 second, because this is where it's important, and I promise you, this is not the beginning, this is the end. A Scarsdale kid, I was very, deprived. Frank Kyle lived down the street, that being the Giffords. I was friends with Kyle. He introduced me to ABC. Roone Arledge was there, and he had a theory and a mantra. He called it the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, the human drama of athletic competition. And so ABC became the preeminent network, and that philosophy stuck. Well, when I got to HBO, I took all that theory with me. Let's do profiles. Let's get to know these guys. Let's understand the world of boxing. So there was a kid from Palmer Park, Maryland, who then ended up being Sugar Ray Leonard. There was the kid from Rocky Marciano's hometown of Brockton, Mass. That was Marvin Hagler. There was the kid from Brownsville who grew up, as you know, in a terrible condition, ended up in northern New York, not that far from here, and was found by the great Cus D'Amato and turned into Mike Tyson. The kid from Pensacola, who's right behind me. A kid from Rhode Island, right behind me. A kid from Davenport, Iowa, right behind me. All with dreams. And then there was that kid from the streets of the Philippines who didn't have a place to sleep other than the floor below him, the rocks and the dirt. And he came here, and it was Manny Pacquiao. So we told the stories of these boxers. It was what Roone taught me from ABC. I once saw him at a restaurant outside at some function, and I said to him, I said, Roone, all I did was change the letters. I took all of your vision of ABC Sports and went from ABC to HBO. So now I make a plea. I challenge the networks, the people, those who were with me at HBO, those that were not. Let's just change the letters. Let's get back to the root of finding out who these wonderful fighters were so they're attached to you. And you can root for them because you know them. You feel them. You anxiously understand their thrill of victory and their agony of defeat. When they raise their arms in the air, you know the struggles that they've been through. So let's get this sport going in a big way. Let's challenge these people to actually bring boxing back to mainstream sports fans in the United States of America. And then I just finished with one thought. This is the place. This is the definition of the history of boxing. We're standing here. We're looking at the history behind us. We're looking at the history at the museum. Ed Brophy, thank God for you. And I love you, and I hope this place exists for the rest of time, and we continue to have greatness behind me. Thank you very much.
What an amazing career. Next, we honor one such individual whose contributions have left an indelible mark on the sport of boxing as well. Randy Gordon, born in Brooklyn, New York. Was a former amateur boxer and earned a journalism degree from Long Island University and began covering boxing in 1974. During his career, he served as editor of The Ring, Boxing Illustrated, and World Boxing magazines, and was a ringside voice and as a color analyst at ESPN, USA Network, and MSG Network. He later became commissioner of the New York State Athletic Commission from 1988 to 1995 and served as president of the Association of Boxing Commissions from 1990 to 1992. Known to many simply as the Commish, he continues to serve the sport as co-host of SiriusXM's At the Fights radio show. In the Observer category, the International Boxing Hall of Fame proudly welcomes Randy Gordon into the class of 2025.
Don and I go back a long way, and you're going to get the story. Hi, everybody. This is the most incredible time of my life. The only thing better. This award I share with my beautiful wife, Queen Ronnie. Everybody knows her as Queen Ronnie. Well, I wouldn't be up here without her and my incredible family, my 5 kids, their respective others, our 12 amazing grandkids. I want to thank SiriusXM Radio. Almost 17 years ago, they took a shot on putting on a boxing show, which the president of SiriusXM, Scott Greenstein, really wanted, and 17 years later, Cooney and the Commish are still on the air. In fact, Queen Ronnie and I are going to be in a flight at 7 in the morning. So Jerry Cooney and I he's going to get home. I guess he's going to drive right after this, but we're out of here about 7 in the morning. And Jerry Cooney and I will be on tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, from 3 to 5 on Channel 156. Love working with that man. Cooney and the Commish, the real twins, obviously. There's no question about it. I want to thank the International Boxing Hall of Fame because, as you're going to hear in a moment, it means more to me than I think anybody who's ever been up here. The wonderful fans in this sport of boxing, the greatest sport in the world. A lot of the people who flew in because they're friends of mine. One of the greatest referees in the history of boxing, Jack Reese, has flown in from California. The COO of Top Rank, Brad Jacobs, came in. I mean, these are my longtime friends in boxing. Mark Ratner, maybe the greatest commissioner. If I was this good as a commissioner, it was because I was commissioner when he was commissioner, the executive director in Nevada, and we shared so much. We were on the phone every single day. We still are all these years later. As I mentioned, Brad Jacobs, the COO of Top Rank. And then from the sanctioning bodies, Mauricio Suleiman and Senor Pacarcel, and of course, the legendary Bob Arum. These guys just left an indelible mark on me in a very, very positive way. This is a story of 3 fighters, 2 fight fans, a referee, and a 10-year-old boy. Now, after his big victory over Apollo Creed, and I know you all watched the fight, Rocky Balboa turned, he grabbed the microphone, and he yelled, Yo, Adrian, I did it. Well, see, there was a message there. And it was a far-reaching message, and it resonated with all of us because we're so into the sport. And that just meant so much. That message is, believe in yourself. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And that is absolutely so true. Now, I learned that lesson a long time before that. Not from Rocky Balboa, but from a 10-year-old boy. Quite frankly, I never met anybody like him. You see, the boy had suffered third-degree burns on the right side of his body in a gasoline explosion. And he laid in the hospital in critical condition. Doctors walked in one day, and they thought the boy was in a coma. And they said, "What's his prognosis?" And another doctor said, "Not good. We don't think he's going to make it more than a few more days." They were horrified because the kid did hear him, and he thought to himself, "I'm not going anywhere." And he screamed at the doctors, "I'm going to live. I'm not going to die." But the doctors, even though they were horrified that he heard them, they were thrilled with his positive attitude and his fighting spirit. Well, that kid, right then and there, knew that he would survive. And when he did pull out of it, doctors told him he was never going to walk again. But he said, "I'm going to walk again." Doctors told him, "You'd never be able to walk. You're going to be wheelchair bound." He said, "No, I'm going to get out of the wheelchair." And it was about 7 months after the accident that his parents took him out for his 11th birthday along with his kid brother. And when they came home, the father sat down in front of the television and he starts flipping the channels. And he stopped when he came to boxing. He and Dad never had watched a fight before, but Dad just wanted him to, just do something because his son just couldn't get out of that wheelchair. And the father said, "Want to watch the fight, son?" The kid said, "Sure, Dad." As he watched the fights, he sat there mesmerized, watching these two guys move around, dart in and out, back and forth, side to side. And he said to himself, "I wish I could do that." But as he watched, all of a sudden, he fell in love with boxing. It became something that he had to see every week. It fueled him to get out of that wheelchair. And then one day, close to a year after the accident, his parents walked into the room and the kid was sitting in front of the television, pushing himself out of his wheelchair. His mother ran to grab him. Father said, "No, don't. He wants to try to stand up. Let him do it on his own." The kid didn't just stand up on his own. He started throwing punches, moving side to side like a metronome. And then he even started moving his legs for the very first time. His parents screamed in joy, and the kid even started jumping up and down, which is something that until that moment he hadn't done before. You see, that 10-year-old boy taught me, with his positive attitude and fighting spirit, more than I've ever learned anywhere. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, that 10-year-old boy was me. I said, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. And from that moment, I never wanted to hear, "You can't do it." In my first day in Journalism 101, our professor said, how many in here want to become announcers or writers? Every hand went up. He said, give up the dream. It's impossible. You can't do it. I just happen to teach it, but I'm telling you right now, change your majors. The kid said, nope. He knew he was going to do it. He put his mind to it. He conceived it, he believed it, and he went out and achieved it. And 2 years later, he was an editor-in-chief of World Boxing, International Boxing, Big Book of Boxing. There is doing the impossible. And then a few years later, I joined Burt Randolph Sugar as he took over a bankrupt and near out-of-business Ring magazine, and we brought it back from absolute dead. Burt Sugar let me run that magazine, and I did some crazy things. And one of the crazy things I did, and many of you fight fans are going to remember this, in 1981, I took the undefeated Tommy the Hitman Hearns, and I put him on the cover wearing a sinister-looking black pinstripe suit, one of Burt Sugar's fedoras, and a machine gun. It happened to be one of my daughter's machine guns, a water pistol. But if you look at that cover, it looks real. It actually cost Tommy Hearns millions of dollars in advertising. That's how sinister it looked. The writers laughed at me when I told them I was going to be doing that. But again, I could see it in my mind's eye. I conceived it, I believed it, and I achieved it. It was the biggest selling Ring magazine of all time. And there's somebody who helped me with that. She was the publicist for Tommy Hearns, Hall of Famer Jackie Callan. I know she's here somewhere. She's probably with us back here. Jackie, I know you're here. Thank you. There we go. Thank you so much for helping me put that together. She absolutely put it together for me. Again, I conceived it, believed it, and achieved it. Now, while I was at Ring Magazine, probably no less than 50 guys came into the office to try to sell me on an idea for a Hall of Fame. None of them ever even knew what they were doing. They had no clue. And I threw each one of them out. And then in 1984 rather, two guys from upstate New York on a very, very busy day. I had to write my editorial. I had stories to edit and write. I had an 11:30 phone call with a casino owner and boxing promoter by the name of Donald Trump. Oh, I see some of you have heard of him. It was a great interview. And then I had to go to NBC and do an interview with their executive producer. And then when I came back, these two guys from CANASTOTA, New York, were coming into the office named Ed and Don. And they were going to be like number 51, 52 guys coming in talking about a Hall of Fame. But from the moment they came in, they carried a long tube with them. I said, what's in there? They rolled out blueprints for a Hall of Fame. Nobody ever did that before. And they told me about CANASTOTA. I knew that Carmen Basilio and Billy Backus came from here, but I didn't know anything else about it. And they said, it's where the Hall of Fame is going to be. Well, guess what? 5 years later, I left Ring Magazine soon after that. 5 years later, I'm now commissioner in New York. And the two of them called me up and they said, we are going to be opening up. The Hall of Fame is ready. I came up in 1989 with a bunch of politicians and Carmen Basilio and Billy Backus, Floyd Patterson. We cut the ribbon to open this great place. Once again, they conceived it, they believed it, they achieved it. And then in 1990, I was still commissioner. In 1990, I stood at the podium over at the Hall of Fame grounds, and I gave the initial speech to open up this amazing field of dreams. And I looked to my right, and I looked to my left. There's Ali, there's Willie Pep, there's Joe Frazier, there's Jake LaMotta, and so many more. It was like pinch me, wake me up. That was in 1990, and here we are. And you know, it was in 1985 when I left Ring Magazine. I was doing commentary, working with a guy by the name of George Foreman. None of you realize this, but while that was George's first time on microphone, because he had been retired. And while we were watching a fight, he was bobbing back and forth, throwing his jab. And I said, you know, George, you could beat either one of these heavyweights right now. After the fight, he looked at me and said, you know, Randy, you gave me an idea, an I-D-E-E-R. He said, give me your home number, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Well, that idea was that he was going to come back. He went to the local Army base, he checked it out. He sparred with the local champ, and he beat him. He called me up the next day, he said, I'm making a comeback. Quiet. And of course, he made the greatest comeback of all time. And that's where the real friendship, George Foreman and I, was born. And when he got the George Foreman grill, he sent me a little grill, he sent me a big grill, an even bigger grill. I love Big George, and I cried like a baby a few months ago when we lost him. Now, when I became commissioner, I will tell you this, there was a lot of things, and I love that job. But in 1993, there was a welterweight title fight between Buddy McGirt and Pernell Whitaker. The Whitaker camp didn't want a New York referee. The McGirt camp only wanted a New York referee. The sanctioning body said, no, we're going to pick the referee. I said, nope, I'm going to pick the referee. Who did I pick? I picked a referee who was retired for 8 years. The writers wrote scathing stories about me, that I had lost my mind, that I was taking a referee who was retired for 8 years. Some of them even called for my immediate removal from the commission. But they didn't know 1/10 about boxing as I do, about refereeing as I do. And I called the guy who was out for 8 years. That night in the dressing room before he went out, we said a little prayer together. He went out. And Larry Hazard, who is still the commissioner in New Jersey, went out and refereed 12 of the best rounds ever seen in the sport. Not one of those writers, not one of them, ever wrote that it was a good decision on my part and that it was a great performance by Larry Hazard, who in my mind, and if anybody wants a debate, Larry Hazard, the greatest referee of all time. And then finally, there was Vinny Paz. Back in 1991, he broke his neck in a car accident. Doctors did not give him a good prognosis. He could see himself coming back from this. He conceived it, he believed it, he achieved it. And he came back 13 months later, and you know the rest. And Vinny is right behind me, and it's been so great to be inducted in a class with him and all these other great, great people. And this one, in closing, Manny Pacquiao. This man is coming back July 19th. And I'm hearing so many of my fellow writers and announcers saying he shouldn't come back. The guy is younger than him, bigger than him. There's no way Manny could make this comeback. Manny conceives himself winning the fight. He believes he's going to win the fight. And I do believe it is going to happen. Manny Pacquiao is going to win this fight. We all have that same dream as that 10-year-old boy. We conceive it, we believe it, and we are going to achieve it. You know what? Can't be done, won't be done, cannot be done. Tell that to Vinny Paz and all the rest of the guys and that 10-year-old boy. We can do it. We can. We will. We did. Yo, Ronnie, I did it! Thank you so much.
Here's a shy guy for you right there. Our next inductee. And Randy, this is your certificate. Our next inductee is from the non-participants category, those men and women who have made contributions to the sport apart from roles as boxers or observers, based upon a candidate's achievements and contributions in their particular field. A respected figure in boxing, and I can attest to this, a fan favorite here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekends past. He's got a big family here with him tonight. Kenny Bayless. That's right. Was born in Berkeley, California. Kenny was an All-American track star at Cal State Hayward before moving to Las Vegas in 1972, where he taught health and physical education for over 30 years. He began officiating as an amateur judge and referee in 1991 and was licensed as a professional referee by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Over the next 32 years, Bayless would officiate nearly 200 world title bouts, working with legends like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez, Christy Martin, and Bernard Hopkins. He's known worldwide for his signature pre-fight phrase, "What I say." That's right. In the non-participant category, the International Boxing Hall of Fame proudly inducts one of the sport's most respected referees, Kenny Bayless.
Thank you. And you know, all this excitement can make me nervous. But anyway, let me say this. I want to say this first. I'm going to change how I wanted to start. And the reason why is because I've seen this video twice. I saw it last night or yesterday at the banquet, and they just showed it, me refereeing the fight with Manny Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton. And the reason why I want to share it is because we could see what was happening with them as far as what was going on in the fight, but you don't know what was happening to me. And I want to share that with you because of all the fights, I've refereed over 800 fights. And what I'm getting ready to share with you, I had never experienced before, never. And at the end of the first round, Ricky Hatton got knocked down twice. And the crowd was just going berserk. It was so loud in there for me, it was deafening. And I walked over to my neutral corner, and as I stood there, I could feel my heart racing. And I mean, it was racing, and this has never happened to me before. So I'm looking down, saying to myself, what is going on here? And it's still racing, and I know the 1 minute clock is winding down. And just prior to the bell ringing, I'm looking at my heart and I'm saying, heart? That bell is getting ready to ring. What you gonna do? And when the bell rung, it was like, it all went away. I went back out, and as you saw in the video, Manny knocked him out at the end of the second round, which was great for me. But anyway, let me start with my journey. When I moved to Las Vegas, me, and I'm gonna mention my twin brother, and I don't know if you've seen him yet, but yes, I do have a twin brother. And if you see me with the name tag, then you know you got the right one. And I say that because he's been signing a lot of autographs lately. taking a lot of pictures as well. He has. He's gotten out of control, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot that's going to stop him. But anyway, I moved to Las Vegas in August of 1972, and in February of 73, I attended my first boxing match, which happened to be Muhammad Ali fighting a guy by the name of Joe Bugner. And to be in an arena and hearing hundreds of thousands of people saying, Ali, Ali, made the hair on the back of my head stand straight up. And at that point, I fell in love with the sport of boxing. After that fight, it was a tonic for me because every boxing match that took place in Las Vegas at that time, I was there. Now, could I afford to go to all those boxing matches? No. So I was finding unique ways of sneaking through back doors, putting on sweatsuits or whatever so that I can get in to enjoy this sport that I was starting to grow into. And then at one point I said to myself, what can I do in this sport that I know nothing about? And I looked at the sport and I said to myself, well, judging does not seem to be difficult. You just sit there and watch a 3-minute round and give your opinion as to who you thought won it. So I got into the amateur Golden Gloves, started practicing scoring, judging. And I would still go to the professional show. So when I took my scorecard, or at a professional fight, when I would score those fights, I would compare it with some of the judges there. And one of the judges I compared it with is a guy by the name of Jerry Roth. And Jerry Roth looked at my scores and looked at his scores and said, well, I don't know how good you're going to do as a judge, but why don't you try refereeing? And as soon as he said that, the first thing that went through my mind was, refereeing? I don't want to get in there with those guys. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I said, well, why not give it a chance? What do I got to lose? So I asked a guy by the name, and I'm sure you've heard of it, named Richard Steele. And I asked Richard, will you show me how the art of refereeing? And Richard took me to the gym and started training me, and everything was just great. I couldn't have asked a better person to ask me about the skills and what it takes to be a referee. So now I'm at the amateur show, and now I'm refereeing and I'm judging. And everything was going great. It couldn't have gotten any better. Matter of fact, it did get better because a good friend of mine, and I thank him, his name was Johnny Lehman, and Johnny Lehman pushed my name to the executive director to become an inspector. So now it's really getting good for me because now as an inspector, I'm in the dressing rooms with Larry Holmes and Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler and just getting the whole flow and feel of how the athletes prepare and what they do prior to the contest that they're being involved in. So I'm just thinking to myself, it can't get no better than this. It can't. So doing the amateurs, my stock just continued to rise as far as refereeing. I started out as a novice referee, and I worked my way all the way up to the open division. I was getting plaques and medals and all kinds of different things to represent the work that I was doing. Now, the only thing that I was waiting to do was to be what? Become a professional. Because in those dressing rooms, I had the opportunity to watch the Mills Lanes. I was in that dressing room to watch Davy Pearl and all and I took a little something from each one of them to mold Kenny Bayless. Now, when the time came for the Athletic Commission to appoint a referee, which I thought was supposed to be me, that did not happen. They gave that to someone else. And the top of my head blew off. And it blew off because of how angry I was, because I was supposed to be the next guy. So what did I do? I decided to write a letter to the commission and say to the commission, hey, look, commission, all these years I put into judging the amateurs and you overlook me like this? And I had a few other words in there that I'm sure that they wouldn't have liked if they had gotten that letter. They got the letter, but my wife, that's sitting right down here front row, took that letter, and she said to me, if you send that letter in, you will never become a referee. So she took the letter and she cleaned it up. We sent it in, and I became a referee. Now, one would think that things would get better, which I thought things would, but things didn't. Because now I'm the little guy on the totem pole, and the years that I was an inspector and meeting all these fighters, I'm juiced up because I want to be a part of refereeing Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe and all these guys. But because I was a low guy on the totem pole, it wasn't happening. And guess what? I started getting a little frustrated. Now I was getting more frustrated about it because I was energized. I wanted to be a part of all that, but it did not happen. And I turned into an angry bird is what I turned into. And nothing was right when I got an assignment to do a boxing card. And I was getting to the point to where I was thinking and debating about wanting to go back and be an inspector. I liked being an inspector. I did. But because things wasn't going the way I wanted it to, I would talk to certain people, trying to get their opinion, trying to get them to talk to me about, because the only thing I talked about was going back. They said, no, Kenny, you can't quit now. My mom always told me, she used to say, I hate quitters. I hate quitters. And that's what was on my mind. So anyway, I talked with a judge by the name of Patricia Jarman. I thank her because she said this to me, Kenny, we don't make fight assignments. The only thing we have to do is put it in the hands of the Lord. Now, have you not heard that before? Put it in the hands of the Lord. Give it to him. And as soon as I gave it to him, I had peace in my heart. I did. So the only thing left for me to do is be like Mark Ratner used to tell me, Kenny, just be patient. Your time will come. Well, at that point, I did get patient. But I was working and I was doing a fight at the Orleans. A fighter got hit, second round. He went down. He did not get up. Called the doctors in. They took him to the hospital. He was suffering from a cerebral hematoma, which is bleeding of the brain, and he died. And that broke me to the point to where I didn't know if I wanted to referee anymore. And I thank Mark Ratner for putting me back in the ring to see how I was going to be affected by that. And I got back in the ring, and I aced it. Give it up. I aced it. And now I'm saying to myself, well, I've jumped a couple of big hurdles here. I think I should be on my way now. Now, all referees and judges, for referees, we have to get a physical and we have to get an eye exam. And when I got my physical and the results of my physical, I was diagnosed with cancer. And when I got that news, that was like the knockout blow. Cancer? As healthy as I am? Cancer? Well, I started looking up to the good man upstairs and praying real hard because I knew I had my wife on my side. That's a wellness coach and health educator. And 8-9 months later, I ended up having to have surgery, and my surgery was a success. There was nothing left behind, and there was no complaints about that. Give it up. I had that cancer surgery in 2004, May of 2004. In September of 2004, I get a call from the commission office because I'm going to be refereeing Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya. Guess what I did? I aced it. And if that wasn't enough, the next fight I did, which was 2.5 months after that, was Marco Antonio Barrera versus Eric Morales. And guess what? I aced it. And after that, everybody, my stock just started climbing and climbing. And for me, the crowning moment for me was when the fight of the century between Floyd Mayweather and that was my crowning moment. That was my crowning moment. And when I did that fight, I was in heaven, in heaven. But listen, I want to thank all the inductees, not thank them, congratulate them. I would past and present, and I'm just thankful to the Lord for him watching over me. It took him, it took angels watching over me. I want to also thank my sons that are here and my family that is here. Thank you and God bless.
Congratulations, Kenny. Ladies and gentlemen, our next category is the Women's Trailblazer category, honoring fighters whose last bout took place no later than 1988. And Kat Davis is the very embodiment of what this distinction represents. A pioneer, a fighter, and a name that helped pave the way for generations to come. Kat Davis was born in Winfield, Louisiana, and was a standout high school student, athlete, and excelled in fencing. Drawn to boxing as a way to cross-train, she relocated to New York in pursuit of a fencing scholarship, but followed her passion for boxing instead. She turned pro in 1975 in Maine, but was denied a license in New York due to her gender. Refusing to back down, she filed a sex discrimination lawsuit against the New York State Athletic Commission. After a long legal battle that included other pioneering women, the court ruled in her favor. Yep. On September 19th, 1978, Kat Davis became one of the first women to receive a professional boxing license in New York. In the women's Trailblazer category, we are proud to induct Kat Davis into the class of 2025.
Hello, fighters.
Here's your ring and your certificate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just said it right here. And I said all you fighters, because just because you're not a boxer doesn't mean you're not a fighter. Everybody who's reached adulthood is a fighter. listen, I just want to say a few words of after I was boxing. I studied and became a chef, which has been my dream. I started in my grandmother's kitchen, and she taught me a first recipe when I was 3 years old. So it made sense to be a cook. So for the last 45 years, oh my God, that makes me feel so old. Oh, that's right, I am old. Anyway, I worked for wonderful companies all over the United States, and the last 25 years I've lived in Africa. And one of the companies I worked with was superb. And I just want to let you know of one of their founding tenets. And they always said, you know, people won't remember your name. They may not even remember where they met you. But they will always remember how you made them feel. And I want to let you know a little bit of how you've made me feel. Spectacular! From the very first moment I walked, somebody opened the door, and it wasn't just opening the door. It was a big smile, and it was this graciousness and honor and respect. And gosh, I wish I'd had that when I was fighting 5,000 years ago, whenever it was. If we had had that kind of respect way back then, it would have made our job so much easier. You know, it feels, I'm lapping it up. I'm telling you, I'm trying to make up for what we didn't have way back then from the boxing community. And I'm going to tell you, I've got this beautiful ring here, and I asked them to make it big enough for my middle finger, because if I ever see those old white stupid men who kept us out of, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to... Thank you. I can't tell you how much this means to me. It's just, this is a dream I never even had, because we didn't know anybody was ever going to accept us. We fought in a daze outside the ring just to get inside the ring. So I want to thank each and other one, and I won't remember your names, but in the future sometime your face will pop in my head, and I'll just smile, remembering how you made me feel. I do remember a couple of names. I can't leave here without thanking Amazing Grace. Where are you? I mean, anyway, you have, oh my God, just before we got here, we stayed on the runway at LaGuardia felt like a lifetime. And she was on the phone with us, and no, it's okay. We'll get you there. No, that's okay. Are you sure? I didn't think I'd ever get here. So, and of course, Ed Beaufort. I mean, really, where are you? Listen, I just can't say enough about this man. Of course, everybody knows him. I'm not going to go on about him. But he answered all my questions. He just, you're an amazing guy. That's all I can say. You're wonderful. Well, I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm going to go sit down and enjoy the show. But thank you very much.
Bring this to you if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put this together. Okay. We'll be with you in a moment. Now that's a trailblazer, huh? All right. All right, everyone. Now we move forward to recognize the inductees in the men and women's modern category, where the last bout was no earlier than 1989, and we begin with Sophie Mathis. Yes. Born in Nancy, France, she turned professional in 1995 and went on to capture world titles in the light welterweight, and light middleweight divisions. Renowned as one of the hardest punchers in women's boxing history, Mathis recorded an incredible 23 knockouts in 27 wins. Yes. Including a memorable 7th-round stoppage of Holly Holm. She retired in 2016 with a record of 27 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw, and 1 no contest, with victories over top fighters like Cindy Serrano and Jane Couch. In the women's modern category, we proudly welcome Sophie Mathis into the class of 2025. Jessica Eleuterio will translate.
Hello, good morning, bonjour en français. Wow. Ce n'est pas la victoire qui fait un champion, c'est le chemin parcouru, les chutes, les sacrifices et les gens qui vous relèvent. Bonjour à toutes et à tous.
Victory doesn't make a champion. It's the journey, the setbacks, the sacrifice, and the people who help you rise again. Hello, everyone.
C'est avec une immense émotion et une profonde gratitude que je me tiens devant vous aujourd'hui. Dans ce lieu chargé d'histoire et d'excellence, pour recevoir cette distinction que jamais je n'aurais osé imaginer à mes débuts, mon intronisation au Hall of Fame international.
It is with deep emotions and immense gratitude that I stand before you today, in this place steeped in history and excellence, to receive an honor I never dared to dream of at the beginning of my journey, my induction into the International Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Yeah. Me retrouver ici, dans ce lieu mythique du Hall of Fame international, c'est un honneur que je reçois avec beaucoup d'humilité et d'émotion.
To find myself here in this legendary Hall of Fame is a dream honor that I receive with humility and great emotions.
Ma carrière m'a conduite sur les rings du monde entier, avec passion, détermination et le goût de l'effort. J'ai eu l'honneur de devenir championne du monde dans plusieurs fédérations, dans 3 catégories différentes, et d'affronter certaines des plus grandes boxeuses de ma génération. Ce parcours fait de victoires marquantes, comme celle face à Holly Holmes aux États-Unis, mais aussi de défaites qui m'ont fait grandir. Je ne l'ai jamais vécu seul.
My career has taken me across the ring of the world, driven by passions, determinations, and a love for hard work. I had the privilege of becoming world champions across multiple federations in 3 different weight classes, and of facing some of the greatest female boxers of my generations. This journey marked by unforgettable victories, like the one against Holly Holm in the United States, but also by defeats that made me grow, has never been a solo act.
Je suis fier de mon parcours, fier d'avoir été championne du monde, fier de mes combats, de mes victoires comme de mes défaites, car chacune m'a construite. La boxe est un sport rude exigeant, parfois ingrat. Mais il m'a tout donné, la force, la rigueur, le respect et une famille de cœur.
I am proud of my path, proud to have been a world champion, proud of my fight, proud of both my victories and my defeats, because each and helped shaped me. Boxing is a tug, demanding and sometimes unforgiving sport, but I gave me everything: strength, discipline, respect, and chosen family.
Et cette famille, permettez-moi de la remercier aujourd'hui avec tout l'amour que je leur dois.
And today, allow me to thank that family with all the love I have.
À ma maman, qui m'a toujours soutenu, même quand elle avait peur, même quand elle ne comprenait pas toujours mes choix. Ton amour, ta présence, ton regard dans le public, c'était ma plus grande victoire.
To my mom, who always supported me, even when she was scared, even when she didn't fully understand my choice, you love, your presence, the look on your face in the crowd, that was my greatest victory.
À ma fille, mon essentiel, ma lumière, tu es la plus belle motivation de ma vie. Chaque combat, chaque entraînement, chaque douleur avait un sens parce que tu étais là. Quelque part dans mon cœur, à me regarder grandir, moi aussi en tant que femme et maman.
To my daughter, my heart, my light, you are the most powerful motivations of my life. Every fight, every training sessions, every ounce of pain made sense because you are there, somewhere in my heart, watching me grow, not only as a fighter, but as a woman and mother.
Thank you. À mon frère, dans le silence, dans les moments durs, tu étais là, solide, discret, mais tellement présent.
To my brother, in silence, in the hard time, you are there, steady, quiet, but always present.
Et bien sûr, un remerciement particulier à René Cordier. Mon entraîneur, mon mentor, presque un deuxième père. Tu as vu en moi ce que je ne voyais pas encore. Tu m'as façonné, guidé, porté à mon plus haut niveau. Ton exigence, ton humanité, ta passion. Rien de tout cela ne serait été possible sans toi. Ce trophée, c'est aussi le tien.
To my friends, and of course, a special thank you to René Cordier, my coach, my mentor, almost a second father. You saw sometimes in me before I even did. You shaped me, guided me, carried me to my height level. Your standard, your humanity, your patience, none of this would have been possible without you. This trophy is you too.
Merci à Christelle Aujoux, mon agent. Merci d'avoir cru en moi, d'avoir porté ma voix, d'avoir su me représenter avec professionnalisme et cœur.
Thank you to Christelle Aujoux, my agent. Thank you for believing in me, for carrying my voice, and for representing me with both professionalism and art.
Je tiens à saluer du fond du cœur tous mes sparring. Je remercie aussi tous les clubs qui m'ont accueilli au fil des années. Un clin d'œil particulier au club de Dombasle Box où j'ai grandi. Partager les entraînements avec les amateurs comme avec les pros. Ce club est une famille, un esprit et une école de vie.
From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all my sparring partners, I also want to thank all the clubs that welcomed me over the years. A special shout out to Dombal Box, the club where I grew, where I trained alongside amateurs and pro alike. That club is a family, a spirit, a school of life.
Et merci à la Fédération française de boxe, à l'équipe de France féminine et masculine. Porter les couleurs de la France a toujours été un honneur immense. Je suis fier d'avoir pu écrire quelques lignes de cette belle aventure collective.
Thank you to the French Boxing Federations, to the women's and men's national teams. Wearing France color was always a tremendous honor, and I'm proud to have contributed a few pages to that beautiful collective story.
Et bien sûr, un grand merci à tous mes partenaires privés.
And of course, a big thank you to all my private partners.
The Hall of Fame, ce n'est pas seulement une consécration, c'est un symbole, celui de la persévérance, de l'amour du sport. Aujourd'hui, je ne rentre pas seul ici, j'y rentre avec chacun de vous dans mon cœur.
This Hall of Fame is not just a reward, it's a symbol of perseverance, of love for sport. I'm not entering this place alone. I carry each one of you with me in my heart today.
Je ne suis pas simplement honorée, je suis fière d'entrer ici, non seulement comme boxeuse, mais comme femme.
Today, I'm not just honored, I'm proud to walk in here not just as a boxer, but as a woman.
Merci à tous ceux qui ont contribué de près ou de loin à cette aventure incroyable. Ce Hall of Fame, c'est un peu de chacun d'entre vous. Je fais maintenant partie de la famille de la boxe du Hall of Fame. Merci du fond du cœur, merci à everything.
Thank you to every who, from near or far, contributed to this incredible adventure, this Hall of Fame. It belongs to each of you too. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I have a new family, Boxing Hall of Fame. Thanks to Ed Brophy and Grace.
And Grace.
Our next inductee, Yessica Chavez, was born in Mexico City, Mexico. Chavez turned pro in 2006 and rose to become one of the premier female fighters of her generation. Chavez captured world championships in both the light flyweight and flyweight divisions, successfully defending her light flyweight 3 times and her flyweight title 6 times. Trained by the legendary Nacho Beristain, she compiled a remarkable 11-1 record in world title bouts. Along the way, she earned victories over world champions Esmeralda Moreno, Irma Sanchez, Arely Musinho, and Jessica Bopp. She retired in 2021 with an impressive record of 35 wins, 5 losses, 3 draws, including 3 of those wins by way of knockout. Now, in the women's modern category, we proudly welcome into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, class of 2025, Yessica Kika Chavez. Mauricio Soleiman will speak and will translate for her.
qué largo viaje. Hace 25 años me subí por primera vez a un ring.
25 years ago, I stepped up into a boxing ring.
Entonces supe que amaba este deporte.
Then I knew I loved the sport.
Aquí estamos los que verdaderamente amamos el boxeo.
Here we are in this room, those who truly love the sport of boxing.
Los aficionados que cada año se dan lugar en este lugar.
The fans who year after year make it to CANASTOTA to be here with us.
Para saludar a sus ídolos, a estas leyendas.
To greet and celebrate the great heroes, these legends.
Aquí estamos los niños que soñamos algún día ser campeones del mundo.
Here we are, those kids who once dreamt of being a world champion.
Los que amábamos levantarnos temprano todos los días, dejar de comer, dejar de tener un pastel.
Those who love to wake up early in the morning to run, those who love to stop eating, those who love looking at cakes and not eating them.
Aquí estamos los que amábamos dar lo mejor de nosotros cada día para subir a pelear.
Here we are, those who love to give the best of us day after day to entertain the world of boxing.
Y solo todos nosotros que estamos aquí sabemos lo que significa el International Woman, el Salón Internacional de Boxeo.
And it is all of us who are here who understand and cherish what the International Boxing Hall of Fame is all about.
Agradezco al señor Ed y a Grace.
I would like to thank Mr. Ed and Grace.
Hacen que el boxeador haga un sueño inmortal.
It is you who make us boxers fulfill our dreams and become immortal.
Pero en ese sueño no llegamos solos.
But we do not get here alone.
Llegamos con nuestros padres,
With our parents,
con nuestros hijos,
our kids, like my little daughter who is here,
con nuestros fanáticos.
with our fans.
Llegamos con esa hambre y ese apetito de ser alguien en la vida.
It is through such hunger and desire to become someone in life.
Llegamos porque Dios nos dio un don y estamos aquí siendo los mejores boxeadores.
We made it only through the grace of God and our hard work and dedication.
Quiero agradecer profundamente a quien me ha acompañado todo este tiempo.
I want to thank very especially to such one who has accompanied me all this time.
A mi padre, Juan Manuel El Kiko Chávez.
My dear father, ¿cómo se llama?
Kiko Chávez.
Kiko Chavez, my dear father Kiko Chavez.
A mi madre, Teresa.
And my dear mother,
A mis hermanos, por supuesto, a toda mi familia y a mi hija que está aquí sentada conmigo.
my sisters and all my family and my daughter who's here.
Y también muy en especial a todos los que nos arropan porque el boxeo no es nada sencillo.
And especially to all of those of you who hug us and take us, because boxing is not easy.
Es una pelea bien difícil
It's a very tough fight.
en donde no tenemos a veces ni para el agua o para la comida.
Even there were times when I didn't even have money to eat, not even money to have a glass of water.
Pero están esas personas que creen en nosotros,
But there are some angels who believe in us,
los que nos apoyan,
those who support our careers.
esos que no son solo patrocinadores,
They are not only sponsors,
son amigos
they are friends,
y son quienes realmente también hacen parte de todo esto.
and they all also deserve to be recognized during this process.
Cleto Reyes,
Cleto Reyes,
Víctor Flores Morales,
Víctor Flores,
Ian, mi universidad.
¿quién, perdón?
Ian.
Ian.
Mi universidad. Y a todos los que en este camino realmente me ayudaron. Solo quiero decir algo muy importante.
All those who truly helped me make it, I just want to say something very important.
Este es un momento especial,
This is a very special moment,
no solo porque somos inmortales en el boxeo,
not only because now we're immortal, we're eternal,
sino porque reconocen el trabajo que estuvo detrás de todos nosotros.
because now all the hard work that made this to be a reality is being recognized in one day.
No saben realmente el camino tan duro que es llegar aquí, pero hoy este es un día de fiesta.
Today we'll celebrate because it took years and countless hours of hard work and dedication to get here.
Porque pude estrechar manos tan importantes de personas que admiro,
Because I have been able to hug and kiss and salute so many important people that I admire.
porque el boxeo es eso, el boxeo es hermandad.
Boxing is brotherhood. Boxing is family.
El boxeo es una familia.
I said it. Boxing is a family.
Gracias.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Great job.
¡Viva México!
Truly, truly inspiring. Our next inductee has also made an inspiring impact over this weekend and to many others inside and outside of the ring. Mary Jo Sanders, born in Detroit, Michigan, captured the 2002 Detroit Golden Gloves Championship before turning pro in 2003. As a pro, she went on to win world titles in 4 weight divisions: light welterweight, welterweight, super welterweight, and middleweight. Her impressive resume includes victories over Layla McCarter, Carla Witherspoon, and Valerie Mahfoud. She also battled to draw with Hall of Famer Holly Holm. Mary Jo Sanders retired in 2008 with an outstanding professional record of 25 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, including 8 wins by way of knockout in the women's modern category. We welcome into the International Boxing Hall of Fame class of 2025, Mary Jo Sanders.
Good afternoon, CANASTOTA, New York. Good afternoon. Hola. Shalom. Ciao. Bonjour. Magandang hang ponpo. And to my Detroit players, what up, though? Oh, this is absolutely a beautiful occasion. If I were to thank everybody that was involved in this, I'd be up here for hours, and I would have to amputate my baby toes. They're already killing me in these heels. But this whole weekend has been a rebirth, a resurgence, a recharge. Thank you, Hall of Fame. Thank you, Ed, thank you, Grace, for that. My whole entire family, thank you so much for being there. You guys were the best supporters, always. To my extended family, my cousins, my aunts, my uncle, I love you so much. My sisters from another mister, my brothers from another mother, you guys held it down. You held me down. I thank you so much. When you receive the call from the Hall of Fame, right after you dry your eyes and your heart settles, to think about your boxing career is not enough. Everything, every person, every word of encouragement, every word of doubt has everything to do with it. It's not just about your boxing career, it's your whole life. It's what God had put into you before you were even on this earth. You come to quickly realize it was never just about you. This was never about you. People were put into your life and onto your path for very special and specific reasons. And I didn't know. And thank you for letting me realize that this was the reason, right here, right now. You also come to realize that the fight was always there. It's always inside of you, long before it was inside of the ring, inside of the ropes. You realize it's a forever fight, and it does not start inside of the ring, and it does not stop outside of it. Our biggest and hardest fights, you can't buy a ticket for. It can't be viewed most of the time. The resilience, the strength, the pulling your britches up every single moment of every single day, these are the things. These are the battles that could never be televised. There's no ref that could save you. There's no cut man that could heal your wounds. There's no judges to be on your side. There's no timeouts. There's no corner that you can go to get advice or to quench your thirst. It feels like that sometimes in life. And I'm so glad that this sport has taught me how to deal with things outside of the ring, and that life has taught me how to deal with things inside of the ring. It's a responsibility and an endurance that you need to honor to be able to absolutely throw yourself into all of it for the ultimate achievement. It's a mindset, it's a philosophy, it's a lifestyle that you put upon your head and in your heart every day, consistently. Every morning, there's a fight. Every afternoon, there can be a win. And every evening, you can be a champion. By the next morning, mostly because we eat, breathe, and sleep this, you could be a Hall of Famer. You just can't quit, and you just can't doubt. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. This sport has taught me so much. And like I said, I want to thank from mostly the beginning. People see you go in there alone, but there is an absolute army of people that are behind you that have taught you so well. You can hear their voice in your sleep. the encouragement, the rules, the knowledge is beyond. And I just want to thank some of the people who have really inspired me. Oh, boxing. Ain't it something? I mean, really, think about it. It's a job that I could punch people, unrender them unconscious, and I don't go to jail. And I get paid. I'm in. But I'm so honored to be in such beautiful company. You guys have been absolutely magnificent, everybody. It's hard to take. I get very teary and a little bit jittery when people give me these accolades. And the only thing that I know is that I worked my ass off. And nobody can take away my hard work. Being a woman in the sport is, it's absolutely magnificent. It's a true honor. The trailblazers that came before me, they really inspire in a way that I can barely explain. You want to fight for them as well. You want to fight for the opportunities that they didn't have. Before my first title fight, there was a beautiful chocolate-skinned, gray-haired woman who came up to me and said, "My goodness, I wish I could have done this." But the opportunity was not there. And I'm telling you, I won that belt thinking of her all the way through. It is a fight that you have to be exceptionally good at just to be able to be in the boys' club. They accepted me mostly after a couple bloody noses, and and I feel like I should pay for some of their therapy. You know, it's very hard to for a man to, get in there with a woman. But like I said, after a couple punches, they didn't have any choice. Hi, Wayne. Yes, it is a boys' clubhouse that I kicked down with stiletto heels and all the while wearing lipstick. And and they accepted me wholeheartedly. This ring means so much to me. It's different being a woman. You men can have children and still go in the ring hours later. The sacrifice that we have it's uncanny, really. I don't even know why we do it sometimes, what we have to deal with. And that means, that just shows how much you love it. And I would always say, on a good day, some guys would hit on me. "Who are you dating?" I'd say, "Mr. Ing. His first name is Box." And I really feel like this ring is, I am really getting married to boxing. Boxing has never let me down. It has always taught me things to this day. It's never lied. And I've always honored it. And just like a partnership, it's leveled me up. And I am so thankful for that. Now on to my coaches. I was very fortunate that every one of my coaches had all done it before. Every single one of them had been on the court, been on the stage, been in the ring, and I was lucky enough that they were just magnificent at it. And there's a different kind of pleasing that goes with that. You know, you could have a coach with a belly that would whistle and go run, but every one of my coaches had worked their tails off. And all you want is that twinkle in their eye when you did good. You want that laugh, you want that, you know, yeah, go get them, you did it. And it was very special to have worked with these people. They knew and understand the sport in every capacity. And from them, to put their hard work in me, their knowledge in me, pass their legacy on to this vessel of mine, to trust it is unbelievable. And I just hope I did it justice. All I wanted to do was please them. All I wanted was that smile. I'm going to start with my high school basketball coach, Coach Frank Orlando. He would always say our motto is believe it. And to this day, I hear his voice in everything that I do. Just those two simple words, believe it. But they supersede so many things in life, so much noise that's there. Just those two words, they're always comforting to me. I love you, Coach. To my bodybuilding coach, Lisa Blythe, I love you, LB. She taught me how to integrate grace, beauty, and strength in everything I do. She also taught me how to eat moderately, especially after I told her that I moderately ate a pie. It was one day. I thought that was okay. And Mr. Kerry Roop, my kickboxing coach, oh, a champion himself. The way that he did things, he never let you get right in the ring. You didn't deserve it, quite frankly. That's not how it works. He would have you for months running, speed bag, heavy bag, jump ropes, sit-ups, push-ups, road work before you ever stepped a toe in that ring. That was the respect that he showed, and he showed others, and I thank him for that. My boxing coaches. Mr. Jim Mallow, I love you. And his son, Jimmy Mallow, I love you, Jimmy. My coaches were educators. Pardon me. It was school, it was. And I wanted to be the teacher's pet. And I wanted to stay late. And I was happy to learn. If it was summer school, I would have stayed there all summer. And I would have gladly taken night classes. They showed me work, and I wanted time and a half in overtime. The detail, the calculated and specific things that were in their brains that they communicated to me with a methodical approach and a tactical genius. I mean, all right, we're all family, right? They had my menstrual cycle down to the calendar. I don't know whether it was for me or them. I don't know if it was, to benefit me, or they just said, let's, give her a couple days off. She's going to be just literally a rag. But that's how intense, that's how clinical, that's how meticulous they were with me. I wouldn't have had it any other way. You guys are my family, my familia. The whole Mallow family. I love you guys. They did not let up. We loved each other, but they didn't let up. There was one day where I was so sore because the intense work, I loved it, but sometimes you have to recoup. There were days when the only part of me that wasn't sore were my eyeballs. And those days, Jimmy worked on my peripheral vision. By the way, sir, in the 17th row, you have a tiny piece of lint on your shoulder. Every single day in the gym, or as I like to call it, the Bat Cave, was like Christmas Day. I had gifts of knowledge, presence of strength, and treats of the sweet science. Mr. Mallow was the brains, Jimmy's the brawn. And Mr. Mallow didn't miss a thing. He was an absolute hawk. He didn't miss one thing. He didn't miss a trick. But I sure miss him right now. I love you. Words are not enough. I am forever grateful for the knowledge and the wisdom, and your lessons have shaped my soul. Thank you for the beautiful journey. Boxing is not a sport of longevity, but me being in the Hall of Fame is. I thank you so much. My beautiful one-year-old nephew gets to see me, and his kids get to see me when I'm gone. And I revel at that thought. That's beautiful. Okay, I have a few more coaches. Mommy. Hi, Mom. Yes, my dad is a Hall of Famer, but not many people know that my mom was going to the Olympics for marathon running. I watched her work hard every day. And what brought me joy was her coming back from a run and the endorphins and the happiness. And when you would kiss her cheek, the sweet sweat and the crystals from her hard work. And her hard work is heart work. I don't know how you did it, Mom. I don't know how you're still doing it. Your hard work is not unnoticed and it's not overshadowed. She instilled positivity in us and faith in us that you could not imagine, from moments like a championship fight to finding a parking spot on Christmas Eve, and everything worked. When she took me on my first run, I was just a little baby. I was just a kid, maybe 6, 7. And I remember her saying, "You can come with me, but I'm not going to slow down." And I'm so glad you didn't give me any. You treated me like an adult. And I thank you for that. And thank you for not slowing down for me or for anybody. I have 2 more beautiful forces in my life to thank. But before that, if I could ask you for your help, please. I just want to take a few precious moments. There are some people who have affected us and impacted us that are not here today. And I'd just like you to take a few moments to think of them. thank you. That was for you, Dad. I love you, Nat. Thank you for that, because we all know that what is really true never dies. Oh, my dad, Hall of Famer Charlie Sanders. The lessons, the instructions, the one words that he would say that would put you in a spin because it was the exact thing you needed to hear. He was perfection. He had linguistics of gold. And if you asked him a question, he would make you think out of the box, something completely different. And he would make you think so wonderfully that you came up with the answer. And I've never felt closer to him than right now. He would say things like, do your best every day, and then tomorrow do a little better. Things like never wait for a moment that you're not guaranteed. He was an absolute example. I love you, Dad. Now, you wouldn't think I would have anyone higher than him, but I do, and that's Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Thank you, Jesus. We as fighters go through such sacrifice and such fight. But to know that Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice for little old me, I wouldn't be here without him. And the fight in him, the toughest battle against all evil, slaying demons for 3 days, that's a fight. That's a fight. And what a beautiful example I have in Jesus. I am Mary Jo Sanders. I am my father's daughter and my daddy's girl. And I am an International Boxing Hall of Famer. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
I almost wore the same dress. Isn't she inspiring? Michael Nunn has had quite a journey. Yes. And today, our next inductee takes his rightful place in boxing history. Michael was born in Louisville, Mississippi. He moved to Davenport, Iowa as a child and built an impressive amateur record of, get this, 168 wins against 8 losses before turning pro in 1984. As a pro, he captured world championships in both the middleweight and super middleweight divisions. He successfully defended his middleweight crown 5 times and his super middleweight title 4 times. Nunn retired in 2002 with a professional record of 58 wins, 4 losses, and 38 knockouts. His resume includes notable victories over Frank Tate, Iran Barkley, and Hall of Famer Donald Curry. In the modern category, we now induct into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Michael Second to None.
Thank everybody. Before I get started, I want to give special thanks to a few people out here that's been with me for a long, long time. want to give special thanks to my mother. She's passed away in 2017. My brother passed away 2023. And my Uncle Marshall, he passed away 6 months after my brother. I want to give special thanks to them. My manager, Dan Goose. Turn it back on. Thanks a lot. My manager, Dan Goosen, he passed away a few years. Well, he come to Davenport, Iowa back in 1984 after watching me participate in the United States Olympic trials and convinced me and my mother to turn pro. And that was probably the greatest thing for me to do. I was a young guy in Davenport getting in trouble with the laws and in the streets. And I moved to California and was able to become middleweight champion. So I give special thanks to Dan Goosen and Joe Goosen and my advisor, Mr. Robert Sirkine. He passed away as well. I want to give special thanks to my lawyer. He's out in the audience somewhere, Ron May, with his son. He's been with me for 42 years. He recognized my talent as a young kid and tried to keep me on the right track before I went backwards. And I got some friends out in the audience. Adrian, she's from California. Cindy's from California. And Jane. And I got friends from Baltimore, Maryland. Ron and his wife. I'm not going to call her Miss Karen. I'm going to call her Karen because she told me yesterday, don't call her Miss Karen, so I don't want to get beat up. And then I got some friends that came from Iowa and Illinois, Bambino, his wife, and his kids. Thank you guys for driving all the way out here from Illinois to New York to watch me get inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. And another dear friend, Joe and his wife, come from Iowa to see me. And another friend, Bo James from Des Moines, Iowa. Let's see here, where we gonna start at? And I got a lot of people back in the background here that throughout my career has helped me out. Mr. Randy Gordon. Who else? Mr. Jose Suleiman, his dad, really loved me. And it's funny, that lady back there, she was the first one to beat me as a pro with a guy by the name of James Toney. Yeah, nothing personally, but you was involved. Well, and I want to give special thanks to Mr. Ed Brophy for giving me my call November 30th, 2024 to let me know that I was finally inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. It's been a long time coming, but there's no time greater than the present. Look on the side over here. I want to give special thanks to Mr. Ross Greenberg. He gave authorization for me to be able to fight on HBO back in the day. I want to give special thanks to him. And who else back there? Nobody else back there? Don't leave nobody out. Oh, my dear friend Michael Spinks, I want to give special thanks to him as well. When I was a young kid growing up in Davenport, Iowa, him and his brother Leon Spinks inspired me. I know it's funny. They lived about 5 hours from me. They was from St. Louis, and I'm from Iowa. It was in 1976. I watched him, Sugar Ray Leonard, Howard Davis, Leo Randolph, and a few other guys won Olympic gold medals. So he really inspired me. I figured, you know, if he's from St. Louis and I'm from Iowa, if he could win a world championship, so could I. So Michael Spinks, you've been a big inspiration to me. So thank you, big brother. I want to thank Mr. Ed Brophy for calling me November 30th, if I'm correct. It was early in California. It was late in New York because you guys are 3 hours ahead of us. Was giving me the announcement that I made the 2025 Hall of Fame. So that's probably one of the greatest phone calls I had probably in the last 5 years. It's a blessing to receive that phone call. So I want to thank you as well, Mr. Brophy. I want to thank all the fans from throughout the world that have supported me and followed me and kept me together and strong. And yeah, I've been through a lot, but I'm a survivor, and I know how to get knocked down and get up. You know, I'm not bragging about going to jail or nothing, but I went to jail for 16 years, 6 months for some activity that I was involved in. I took my weight like a man, come home like a man, and continue to be a man. And to be here today getting, exonerated into the International Boxing Hall of Fame is probably one of the biggest things they ever accomplished. And I've been very thankful. So I just want to thank God for all he's done for me. He's kept me in this fight. It's not over, it's just beginning. And I want to thank all you people out there today that come here to see me get exonerated and put in the Hall of Fame. Thank you, guys.
All right, everyone. A true fighter in every sense, and after last night, a possible comedian. Vinny Paz's incredible journey was destined to be immortalized on film. Born in Cranston, Rhode Island, he turned professional in 1983 and went on to win world titles in 3 weight divisions: lightweight, light middleweight, and super middleweight in 1991. After suffering a fractured neck in a near fatal car accident, he defied all odds and made a return to the ring just 13 months later. A testament to his relentless will and fighting spirit, known for his toughness, charisma, and unmatched heart and determination, he retired in 2004 with a record of 50 wins, 10 losses, and 30 knockouts, with notable victories over Greg Haugen, Dana Rosenblatt, and Hall of Famer Roberto Hands of Stone Duran. And I believe when he was called by the Hall of Fame, he said, "CANASTOTA will never be the same." We know that's true after last night. In the modern category, our next inductee into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, the Pasmanian Devil, Vinny Paz.
Oh boy. Jimmy Birchfield, my promoter, in the front row. Like, I don't know. I'm so glad you're all here. Like, were you sitting there and listening to Bobby Joe talk, and were you just looking at her up here and saying, wow, her and Paz would make some fucking great Muhammad Ali's, or they would do like Marvin Hagler's to the crazy. Like, we'd pop out about 4 Marvin Haglers. I don't know. Missy, my girl, I don't mean nothing by it. She knows I'm nuts. No, Jimmy, right? Me and her, fucking Marvin Hagler ain't got shit on that. I actually beat Marvin Hagler's brother, Robbie Sims, who was a great fighter. Well, finally, thank you. Finally, Ed put me in because he thought I was gonna kill him. So he finally put me the fuck in. Thank you, yeah. Brophy, you're lucky. You came real close. He came real close. I'm just so glad to be here, and I'm happy that all you are here sharing this with me, and it don't get any better. I was pretty good as an amateur. I ended up going at the Olympic Training Center, and I turned pro, and things just blew up. And you know, I say I got lucky, but it's not really luck. It's kick-ass power and a lot of hard work. And I fought my balls off for you guys. So yeah, thank you. You should give that the round of applause. I fought my balls off for you. Thank you. See now, that's this right now is Paz land. That is so cool. Jimmy, it don't get any better. Come on, want to try for a Marvin Hagler? Junior. No, I'm Missy, I'm only kidding. Come on. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Where's Jackman? Glad you're here. Ray Oliveira, you're the bomb. That was my main sparring partner. Yeah. Yeah. He was a badass. We had wars in the ring. We used to spar quite a lot. Do you guys know Dana White? Yeah, I love him. He's the best. He's the best. And we got together because he lives in Boston, and I live in this place that you might not ever heard of called Rhode Island. Yes, you laughed. Cool. Who'd you tell me? Who else you'd tell me to say? Mauricio Suleiman's. He's the man. I mean, it is boxing. It's Suleiman boxing. They're the greatest. They're the best. They're the WBC. They are the best. In my 50th win, the last win of my career, and I knew that was gonna be the last win of my career. I didn't want to make it. I fought a real good kid, and believe, like, the kid was going for 40 wins. I was going for 50 wins, and the kid was like, I'm like 40 years old, and this dude is like 27. So he thought he was just gonna kick my ass. And the first 4 or 5 rounds, 6 rounds of the fight, I wasn't turning it up, and I couldn't hit him. And I'm in the ring, and I'm saying to myself, you stupid mother. You moron, you idiot, you had picked this fucking kid. And like, you know he beat 40 people. He's a young kid. I don't know, he's like 28, 27 years old. He was a stud. He could fight. So I go back to the corner, and my promoter comes over and he grabs my trunks and he goes, "Champ, you're losing this fight." And then I thought he was going to say, like, after that, "I told you not to fucking get this kid." But no, he didn't say that. He said, "You got to get close to him." And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, shut up, because he's killing me. I don't want to get any closer to him than I already have. I mean, fuck. Like, and like really, like this is a true story. He's like on the side of the ring, and I'm like looking over, and I'm looking at him like this, and I'm going saying, really, is that all you can tell me? Like I'm getting my ass kicked, and can you give me any hints or anything? So I get out and I start throwing some bombs, which would have been like our kid if we had like a kid. No. Oh, never mind. Missy, don't worry about nothing. So, anyways, my promoter gets in the corner. He grabs my trunks. He says, "You're losing this fight," and I was like, "Duh." And like I don't know. I'm getting hit. You're not getting hit. So I turned it up and kicked ass. And what the kid's name was Tucker Pudwill. See, it's something like that. But he was like a real tough ass white boy. And I killed him after that. What did you say? What? And correct. I wanted to end my career with 50 wins, that's a lot. Got my 50th win. Bam. That's why I'm here. Believe it, like I'm here because I had 50 wins. I had 30 stops, 30 KOs. I fought on every TV. Like all my fights were televised. I kicked ass. I was a showman. I did my thing, and that's why I told Brophy, Ed, if you don't put me in, I'm gonna kill you. No, it's true. It's true. I would have, and then I don't know how life would have went after that, but I might have went back to getting Jimmy Birchfield to get me some fights again. I'm just glad you're all here, and that's cool. And all right. Missy, don't worry about it. I'm cool. I wish they were like I had some highlights here so you could throw them in and there'd be some like I had some great fucking fights. Like I did. I kicked ass 50 times and it was good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Right on. Now that's my crowd. You don't give a shit about the little Marvin Haglers we're gonna have. It don't make a difference. I still fight my ass off. Thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. Peace and love.
All right, let's bring it back, huh? All right, and now as we come to the final inductee of the class of 2025. As we bring this ceremony to a close, we turn our attention to one last name. This world champion stands shoulder to shoulder with the very best. And we are honored to recognize someone truly remarkable. Manny Pacquiao, the fighting pride of the Philippines. Hold on. Hold on, folks. He compiled a 60-4 amateur record before turning pro in 1995. Over the course of his legendary career, he became one of the most decorated boxers in the history of the sport, capturing world championships in a record 8 weight divisions from flyweight to super welterweight. Pacquiao has thrilled fans across the globe with his blistering speed, his explosive power. His resume includes unforgettable victories over boxing greats Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Sugar Shane Mosley, Juan Manuel Marquez, and Miguel Cotto. He supposedly retired in 2021 when this was written, wink wink, with a professional record of 62 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, with 39 of those wins by way of knockout. Now inducted into the modern category, ladies and gentlemen, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao.
Finally, we're finally we're about to we're in a final round. First of all, I would like to thank God for this opportunity that we're here, giving us a good day and giving us a good health, keeping us safe. Praise to God. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all the awardees and to all of you who are here. I came from nothing, just a small boy from streets of General Santos City. No shoes, no food, no chance, just a dream in my heart. I know hunger, I know pain, I know what it means to be counted out. But I also know what God can do when you keep the faith and never give up. Boxing gave me a way out. It turned my struggles into strength, my failures into lessons, and my pain into purpose. From flyweight to junior middleweight, 8 divisions. Every fight, every victory was a step further from poverty. It was not just for me, but for my family, for the Filipino people, and to all the fans, and for the glory of our God. I never chased greatness. I just work hard to be better than Manny Pacquiao I was yesterday. I never picked the easy fights. I choose the hard ones. I move up weight after weight, not to protect a record, but to test my limits. And now, when I look back, 8 division world champion, world titles in 4 different decades, oldest welterweight world champion in history. Those are not just opinions, they are facts. But greatness isn't what you call yourself. It is how you live your life and how you inspire others. So call me a fighter, call me a warrior, call me proudly Filipino, call me a servant of God. Some people ask, who is the greatest of all time? That's not for me to decide. It belongs to the fans. It belongs to history. Thank you to all the promoters who helped promote my fights in the beginning of my career until now. But I want to especially thank two men who played a big part in my boxing journey. To Bob Arum, thank you for helping make many of my biggest fights in my career. You give a kid from the Philippines a chance to show the world what he could do. And to all Hemon, thank you for helping me, especially the later part of my career. I dedicate this moment to every underdog, every dreamer, every person who keeps fighting even when the odds are against them. To my wife, Jinky, and our children, Jimel, Michael, Princess, Queenie, and Israel, you are my heart. You are the reason I fight beyond the ring. To the Filipino people, to the fans all over the world, thank you for your love, your prayers, and your support all these years. You carried me through every victory and every defeat. I want to say thank you to all the media and press because of your big help to boxing industry. And to all of us, we became popular because of you guys. To my coaches, especially to Freddy Roach and Boboy Fernandez, Justin Fortune, to all of Team Pacquiao and every fan around the world, thank you. You encouraged and inspired me every step of the way. And to every young boy or girl with a dream, don't let your situation define your future. With God, nothing is impossible. All things are possible with God. As it says in Joshua 1 verse 9, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And that's what happened to me. He was with me from the slums of Sarangani to the bright lights of Las Vegas to here at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I'm so grateful and thankful to God, and the glory, honor, praises belongs to Him, not for my Manny Pacquiao, for anybody, but to God who created everything. Thank you. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas, mabuhay ang bawat Pilipinong nangangarap at lumalaban. This is our victory. This is our story, and the best is yet to come. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you for waiting.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for attending this class of 2025 induction ceremony. On behalf of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, thank you. We'll see you next year. We're going to get a quick photo with all of the inductees right now with their rings on. God bless. Thank you.
I don't need you. I don't need you. That was Manny did his thing.
Yes.
Great. They kept him for last, and obviously you would, but
Yes.
he really did close the show. And we closing the show. That was painful, yo. That was painful. I ain't gonna front. Matt, how you feel, big dog?
I feel good.
Yeah.
The ending with Pacquiao made it all worth it.
Yeah.
The rest of it, respectfully, you guys got to learn to speak a little bit more fast. But it is what it is. You know, some of
Yeah.
you guys had your moments, but we came for Pac and we got him. So
Listen, at the end of the day, these guys are Hall of Famers. These women, men and women, are Hall of Famers, and they took their time. They did what they had to do. We lived through it, and look forward to it next year, right, DDA?
Listen, I hope they bring Vinny back. Listen, my cousin Vinny was the star of the show all weekend.
Vinny Paz is my guy. Listen, I told y'all before. So I got to figure out how to get y'all to become members on our membership and all that kind of stuff. And I'll be coming to y'all with that tomorrow, because I really want you guys to see the kind of stuff that I'm gonna be putting together in the upcoming months. Shout out your platform.
It's your girl Chevy Red. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Chevy Red, and that's CheviRed.
and you can follow me at Navs Boxing, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that good stuff. Hit the subscribe button. PorterWay. Hit that follow.
And y'all see how we sharing these mics. Get that membership so we can upgrade, all right?
As always, I appreciate you guys for stepping in, for stepping up, and just helping out. Really do appreciate you guys. Some of the great people that I've been able to meet because of this sport right here. We're coming to y'all with a live episode tomorrow via Zoom. We can't get in the studio tomorrow, so we'll be doing a live Zoom show for you guys. I told Antt I need to get his perspective on everything that happened over the weekend beyond the Hall of Fame. Happy to bring you the Hall of Fame today and yesterday, and we will be seeing you tomorrow. I'll let you guys know what time ASAP. This is the PorterWay.